I am live for the fourth. This is the fourth Illuminating the Sunday Scaries. So if this is your first time here, I always like to start off by saying, please go get yourself a cup of tea, journal, and anything else that will help you feel comfy and cozy during this time together. I have a cup of tea. This is actually lemon, ginger, honey, and then I put a little bit of turmeric and cinnamon and heated up the hot water, put it all into my Vitamix, and then blended it. It's really nice. It's like a really healing drink. So I know it may look like a margarita or like a blue moon, but I swear it's lemon ginger honey tea. So I am here just as ready for the Sunday Scaries as you are with my soothing tea. Some of you may want to do aromatherapy. I also have a stone. I don't know if any of you ever use stones to help keep you focused or help calm you. There's so many ways that you can use stones. So we can also talk about that in here. So I always like to begin with just talking about agreements and creating a safe space. So before we dive into having all of you share your Sunday scary and helping you illuminate whatever that is and work with whatever part may be causing the disruption in your system or the anxiety or the angst going into the week. Before we do all of that, I always like to begin with just creating a safe space. So one of the things that does that is the idea of confidentiality, that everything that is shared in here stays in here. The other thing is just asking all of you to have a sense of willingness and curiosity and wonder. I know some of this may sound strange or seem strange if you've never done any kind of mindfulness or if you haven't done any sort of guided imagery. It may seem kind of strange, but if you could just practice non-judgment and work with curiosity, that would be wonderful. Another thing that's really important in here, speaking of non-judgment, not only non-judgment of yourself and whatever comes up, because sometimes this can be nerve-wracking and you may judge yourself and wonder, why did you say something or why did you share something? And it's always so important that you feel like you don't have to judge yourself or anything that you do in here. And then also not judging other people. So that can be difficult as well, but trying to be compassionate towards everyone and what they're facing or what everyone is doing. So compassion towards self and others. Also, I hope that you have fun and you trust the process. You trust what it is that I'm facilitating here. And I have done a lot of this in individual and group work already. So it is tried and true. So just trusting that and having fun and enjoying it. This does not take the place of therapy. So this is just a tool that I like to provide for people on Sunday afternoons to help you enjoy the rest of your Sunday and go into your week feeling empowered. So definitely do not see this as a way of taking the place of therapy. And, if something comes up that is of concern, definitely seek out support, professional support that's underneath the guise of therapy. So before I begin, is there anything else that would help people feel safe? I'm just going to wait here and just in case there's something that I missed, something that you need in order to feel safe sharing on here. It's funny, there's a little bit of a delay. I've noticed, so when people write on here, it doesn't show up for me right away. So I'm trying to practice the pause and just wait until the comment comes up. or there may not be any comments yet. So that may be the case as well. You may notice I have a candle there. And then I have this piece of driftwood where I wrote, let go. How many times do we need to just let go of something? And that in the letting go, there's less suffering, right? Rather than holding tight. So sometimes that may be wisdom for Sunday Scaries. So I have that here, candle, and it's a chakra candle that we actually bought when we were doing a Taste of Wow workshop, and it's already through. It looks like the crown chakra. Yeah, right? Of course, that's the third eye. Nope, it's going through the crown chakra. So maybe you have a candle lit as well. All right, I'm going to move on. I'm not seeing any comments, so we're going to just carry on here. Okay. So the Sunday Scaries. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this every Sunday that I possibly can in the near future? The reason why is because I am very passionate about helping people become mindful of stories and beliefs that you may be telling yourself consciously or subconsciously that are taking over your lives and are binding you. So the idea of illuminating Sunday stories, also known as Sunday Scaries, is the importance of taking a look at some of the stories that you may be ruminating on or having you take over your Sunday, right? How many of us are already dreading Monday as soon as our eyes open Sunday morning? And then what happens? Any joy or rest or restoration that you could possibly receive on your Sunday when you're not in the work week yet is robbed. It's completely hijacked, ambushed by whatever fears you're having, whatever anxiety or Sunday scaries you're having. So this space is that we can come together and I guide you through various exercises that help you become mindful of whatever it is that's taking over. So whatever thought may be hijacking your system. So maybe it's a presentation that you're nervous about going into the week. Maybe it's about juggling all the things that you have to juggle. Whatever it is, maybe you have health concerns or health challenges that you're really worried about that you have to address this week. Whatever it is, we help provide the space for you here where you can take a closer look at those with compassion, with curiosity. And as we do that, it not only begins to dissolve it, it helps you to feel more empowered, to access your calm and enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and better yet, be able to go into your week feeling empowered. Basically, the final thing that I will do with all of you is make sure that you have an action item or something that you're going to do to help you get through the week. So you may be wondering why something like this works. Awareness is 50% of the solution. I always say that. So if you can have the space where you can bring it to your awareness, it's 50% of the solution. I always use the metaphor. And so for those of you who have already done this or have worked with me before and you're like, oh, here she goes again. I love the metaphor of walking in the dark. And if you're aware of what is there in the dark, you can move around it, you can navigate it. If you're not aware, then chances are you're going to be bumping into corners of furniture. So my hope is that in this work, you have the opportunity to become aware of whatever you may bump into in the night or in the day. And if we can get ahead of it and be more aware of it, then it has a less chance of taking over. The other thing that's really, really important for me to help you do in this work on Sundays at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, is helping you access your inner wisdom. I cannot say enough how many times in a session, in group work, whatever it is that I'm doing, that the wisdom that comes out of you, yes, you, far surpasses anything that I could have thought of. And you may think, oh, I'm putting myself down, but no, same thing can happen to me. Like I can access my inner wisdom, right? But when I can do that for you, and you're the expert of your system, you're the expert of what you're facing. What you're facing is unique to you and nobody else. So when I can provide the space for you to do that, then you can access, wisdom far beyond anything I could have told you, because you have all of the information, all of your parts, all of your strengths. So I feel it is an honor that I help provide the space, and I help facilitate it through guided meditation as well as through question asking, which is a huge thing if you think about being a therapist. You have to be able to ask really good questions. The other thing I wanted to do before we start is just kind of share exactly what I will be doing. So at first, I will guide you in a mindfulness exercise, like I said, that's going to help you become aware of whatever Sunday scary, whatever Sunday story you are telling yourself. The next part has to do with internal family systems. Again, if you're tuning into this the first time, I'm going to explain it right now. And for those of you who've been here before, worked with me before, feel free to add something in the comments about internal family systems if I'm missing something. In this, I'm doing very, very, very basic parts work of internal family systems. Internal family systems was founded by Dr. Richard Schwartz. It is, in my opinion, one of the best approaches for therapy out there, one of the most empowering approaches out there. It helps you become more self-aware and more self-connected. Basically, it's the idea that, yes, we have an external family system. We have our siblings, and we have our different roles, and, with their parents and all that. This is the idea that we, inside of us, have a system, and we have various parts that work to an extreme based on something that happened in our family of origin, some sort of attachment trauma, or some other sort of trauma that causes our parts to work to an extreme. So, for example, if there was a time when you were corrected a lot in school, you may have a perfectionist side that works to an extreme. So that side was born out of some of the trauma of things that teachers said to you, or whatever it may be. And so then now you have a perfectionist side. Now, a perfectionist side, they're trying to make you do the best that you can do. And in that way, it's like, oh, okay, they're great. It's when they work to an extreme, or when they go to an extreme on their own, not using some of your self with a capital S qualities. And that's the goal of this work, is that your self with a capital S, which is calm, connected, compassionate, curious, courageous. Oh goodness, this always happens. Curious, confident. All right, there's two more. Calm, connected, curious, compassionate. Oh my goodness. Anyone out there, if you remember the other two? It's funny, in my office, I have them all listed behind me because, clarity. We need clarity. It's so funny how the brain works. Anyway, those are all self qualities with a capital S, right? Sometimes some of my clients call it wise self. Some clients call it divine self. Whatever feels comfortable for you. You want that part to be in the lead. And that's part of what I try to do when we do this work. Have you connect to your calm, have you connect to your confidence and your curiosity and your compassion. Learn, consult with the part that's causing you a lot of stress on your Sunday, and then working from there. And so, as I said earlier, hopefully you will be able to leave here identifying a tool that's going to help empower you in facing the week. So, on that note, are there any questions? I feel every time I do this, I feel like I may be throwing out a lot and not sure if it makes sense. So I just want to check in with everybody. Are there any questions about anything I just said or what we're about to do? So I'm going to wait a minute because I know sometimes there's a delay in the comments reaching me. So I'm just going to wait a minute and then I'll begin. I'm in a different space again today. I'm in the same space, but I have a different background. But not my office. I haven't been in my office since the first one. Probably do both. It's kind of nice on a Sunday to just be home. And this particular Sunday is wintry. It's not snowing at the moment here, but all right. Doesn't look like there's any questions. Doesn't look like there's any comments. So I'm going to just go right ahead. If you have a journal or a paper and a pen, I feel like that works because a lot of times when we do this exercise, things come up that you can write down, even if you decide not to write them down in the comments. So I'm going to guide you in a mindfulness exercise. And again, this is just to help you connect with the calm and the quiet within you, while also getting clear about what Sunday story is in, taking over your Sunday, or what Sunday Scary is taking over. So that's the purpose of this exercise, is for you to get super clear and identify what it is that's in your mind taking over any chance of you relaxing and enjoying your Sunday. So again, I'm just going to guide you. All you need to do is just follow what I'm saying. If at any point you find that your mind's racing or difficult emotions are coming up, just know that that is incredibly common. And you can just notice whatever it is that's coming up and use your breath to get back to the present moment. Again, because I'm going to be guiding you, you can just lean on whatever it is that I'm saying to help you stay connected to the present moment. And right now, everything is fine in the present moment, right? So, okay. So just beginning by feeling the support of your chair. And if you're not on a chair, if you're lying down, just noticing the support. And just taking a moment right now and just allowing any tension to release from the top of your head, allowing tension to release from your forehead and your temples, allowing tension to release from your cheeks and your jaw, allowing tension to release from your neck and your shoulders, your arms and your hands, allowing tension to release from your chest and your stomach, allowing tension to release from your hips, your thighs, your knees, allowing tension to release from your calves, your heels and your toes, and just letting all that tension go. Just imagining all the tension is just melting off of you into the ground below you. And if there's another floor, into that, into the earth eventually. And just connecting with your breath. It's amazing. Our breath is a shortcut to calm. So right now, that's all you need to do is notice what your breath feels like on the inhale and notice what it feels like on the exhale. And so in this quiet and calm space, I just want you to allow yourself to notice what thoughts you're having about your Sunday. So just notice whatever they are. Again, without any judgment, just compassion, just noticing whatever thoughts you're having. Maybe they are Sunday scaries. Maybe you're having other thoughts. Whatever it is, just noticing them. And next, just checking in with your physical body, noticing what you're feeling physically. Noticing any sensations that may be coming up. And then just noticing your emotions. What emotions are you feeling? Maybe they're related to the thoughts. Just naming whatever you're feeling, whether it's anxiety or sadness or anger or something else. Maybe you feel happy. Whatever it is, again, without any judgment, just curiosity, noticing what feelings are coming up. So just taking all that information, feeling your feet on the floor, feeling yourself supported by the chair, noticing the air around you, and coming back to our time together. And for those of you who want to write it down, please take a moment right now to write down any of the thoughts or emotions or physical sensations, any of the information that you received from your mind and your body during this quiet time. And I'm just going to give everybody a minute or so to do that. So I know for me, and for those of you who feel comfortable, please, please, please share. Remember that something that you're facing is probably something someone else is facing. But I know for me, what came up is, am I going to get time to rest and restore for the rest of this Sunday? And then at the same time that I was thinking about that and worried about that, I was also thinking, am I going to get all the things I need to get done tomorrow and tomorrow morning? So tomorrow afternoon, especially, I have a very busy afternoon. Probably from 11:30 until 6:30, I go straight with meeting, a class that I'm teaching, and then seeing clients. So there's a little bit of a Sunday scary that, am I going to get all of that done? And some of the other things that I need to do ahead of time as well. Like there's an email I need to compose. And so what was going through my head was, can I relax for the rest of my Sunday and still get all of those things done in the morning? Or should I be doing one of them tonight, which I've already determined that I don't want to do that. I want to enjoy the rest of my Sunday. But those were some of the thoughts I was having. So any Sunday scaries out there that people feel courageous and brave enough to share, those were mine and what came up. Or maybe you want to share something else that came up during the exercise. Maybe there was a sensation that you experienced, or maybe you want to just comment on the experience alone. Whatever it is, I would love to hear from you. So please feel free to comment. And if I don't hear from anyone, I'll move on in the next minute. I don't know if you heard that. That was Misty snoring. I don't know if you heard the snorting. I love when she snorts and snores. And there's also geese outside. I don't know if you hear that. There's lots of animal noises happening right now. Okay, so it looks like Chuck is having some Sunday Scaries. Tiny house in the woods that's reminding you of slasher movies in the 80s. Or maybe is it like a little bit Blair Witch in the 90s? Whatever it is. That does sound pretty scary. And it does sound like, when you think about like the Blair Witch movie, how so much was like what we create in our minds. So thank you for coming on here, Chuck, and feeling brave to share that, because hopefully by the end of this, you will feel like you have like control over your thoughts, so that you're not thinking that someone's going to come in with a knife. Anything else? Anyone have anything that's related to that? Anyone else in some sort of horror movie setting right now? Is that going to be the theme of this Illuminating the Sunday Stories that bind us? Anything else? Chuck, is there anything else you want to share about your experience of feeling like you're in a horror movie? I hope your bike tour is going well too, Chuck. For those of you who were not here the first time we did Illuminating the Sunday Stories, Chuck is taking his bicycle. He just went down. He's already finished the east coast of Florida. He went from St. Augustine all the way down to the Keys, and now he's traveling back up. So if you want to follow him on Tony Recluse, you can learn more about where he is. What does it say? Oh, right now it's absolutely peaceful. Oh, good. So stay in the absolute peacefulness. I do have to say, a tiny house in the woods sounds really peaceful. So stay in the peace. Try to stay away from the horror movie visions. All right. So on that note, I think I'm going to move to doing some of the parts work. And I don't know if you just heard Misty snort again, but she just did. So we are going to move now to doing some of the parts work that I like to help facilitate in this work. So again, the idea of parts work is that we have various parts in our system. And when we are leading from a calm, confident, connected, courageous, and curious space, and we can consult our different parts. We can consult sometimes we may have an anger part or an anxiety part or a perfectionist part or a scheduler or a fixer or a martyr. Many of us have all of these various parts. Our procrastinator, a lot of us have a procrastinating part. Whatever parts there are, when we lead from self and we can lead from that calm place, then we can get information from the parts. It's when a part takes over and hijacks our system. So say, for example, you have an anxiety part that takes over your Sunday afternoon, and that hijacks your system and you can't enjoy anything. It just completely takes over. You're ruminating about the week. You're worried about it. Then that's yourself is not in the lead, and this part is in the lead. Now, remember, there is no judgment of the part. There's a reason why that part is acting the way it is, and it's not a bad thing. It's just this work helps us to understand why it's hijacking our system. So now, Chuck, you have a peaceful one. Oh, look at Denise, you're here. Yay. It's so good to see you. So Chuck, you may want to just stay in your peaceful place. There may not be a part that is at the forefront that may be causing any Sunday scaries, right? So, but for the rest of us, what I recommend you doing, again, I'm going to guide you in a guided meditation where you can meet with this part and you can get more information from it. So, whatever part you feel like is hijacking you right now. So, maybe you want to start calling it a Sunday scaries part, a part that takes over your Sunday afternoon. Or there may just be an anxiety part, or there may be a scheduler or a time manager part or a perfectionist part. If you have any questions about that, you can let me know. Or you may want to just look at whatever you got from the first exercise and just take a closer look at whatever that is. So I'm just going to guide you. So just taking you, back into a guided meditation. So just again, feeling yourself supported by the chair that you're sitting in, noticing your feet. Again, it just helps to kind of bring your energy down. And then, of course, connecting with your breath. And just allowing whatever it is that's taking over your Sunday to come to the forefront. So earlier I had mentioned what was happening to me, right? It was, I want to make sure that I can relax for the rest of the Sunday and then also be able to get all I need to do done tomorrow. So chances are that's my scheduler, as I've shared in the past. So that part is the part that's at the forefront of my system. So that's the part that I'm going to bring to the forefront and work with it. And that's what all of work is about. So you can take whatever you want, whatever part of you or emotion is taking over your system and disturbing your peace, and just bring that part to the forefront and notice what you feel like physically. Again, this is just all information, right? So without any judgment and just curiosity and compassion, notice what happens to your body physically when this part takes over. Where do you feel it in your body? How do you feel it? And just noting all that information. And again, if you want to write it down, you can. So again, using my own examples to help you with this work, I am feeling the scheduler in my chest. Like my chest is a little bit tight. And then also in my breath, like my breath isn't as deep as it could be. It's a bit shorter, just kind of like, oh, am I going to get everything done? Type of thing. So that's where I'm feeling it. So whatever you're feeling, however you're feeling this part, this is the part that you may be like, oh my goodness, what are you doing? But I promise you it works. Again, this is from internal family systems, and it's just, I think it's amazing. But you're in your mind's eye. So remember how healing your imagination is. I think we don't give it enough credit, right? We spend so much time in our left brain, which is logic and linear, that we don't use all the power that's in our right brain, which is intuition and imagination and creativity. So some of this mindfulness work helps us get into that imagination. And I want you to go into that imagination part, and I want you to imagine separating. So you're actually separating from the part that is taking over. So for me, it's separating from that scheduler so that I can be in my calm and in my curious and compassionate place. And then in my mind's eye, there's this scheduler, right? So people experience different things when they separate from a part. Sometimes they can't separate from the part, and that's information, right? That means the part has completely hijacked you. You're afraid of letting go of it. The part's afraid of letting go of it. or letting go of you and separating. And that's information. That's always good to know. And sometimes you can bring your attention back to your breath, back to your breath, back to your breath until the part lets up a little bit. Some people see cartoons. So for my scheduler, it's interesting. I have various looks for different parts. Some of them are smaller me. Like I have a people pleasing part that's like me in elementary school, like trying to raise my hand, like as a child. But my scheduler is actually a cartoon. It's like this black cartoon, constantly writing in a planner. So again, my imagination, I encourage you to use it. You may think I sound like I'm absolutely out of my mind, but I'm telling you this works. So imagining whatever part it is separate from you. And I want you to just notice how you're feeling towards the part. So first, just notice like whatever part, if it's anxiety, if it's a worrier, if it's for like me, the time manager. Sometimes people have, a perfectionist part that comes up on Sundays. Whatever part it is, I want you to ask it with gentle curiosity. Just ask it, what is your intention? So, what is your purpose of taking over my system? So just ask it that question and then just listen. Just making sure you write that down in your journal. And for those of you who feel comfortable writing down in the comments, because again, I can guarantee people will be able to relate and learn and heal and grow from whatever it is that you write. I know for me, my scheduler said what it typically says, and that is, I just want to make sure you get everything done that you need to get done. And, some of the things that I need to do are for other people. So it was kind of like, we just need to make sure that they get that so that they can move on to the next part. And so maybe you received an answer like that. Again, if you feel comfortable just sharing, whatever's coming up for you or whatever you heard about what the intention and purpose is of the part that's hijacking your Sunday. Okay. So Denise, you're feeling compassion for yourself. Oh, I don't, but there's a bunch of question marks. Compassion for myself, question marks. Can you elaborate? Is that like, I wish I could hear your tone of voice. This is where, like, are you like compassion for myself? That's not possible. Or you're asking me to be compassionate to myself. How can I do that? Can you elaborate? Did the part say to you, Denise, that its intention and purpose is to have compassion for yourself? Which is possible. If you don't mind clarifying. It's funny because I'm curious because it'll be interesting to hear the context of where the compassion came up and how it came up. And I'm just waiting because I know sometimes with the comments there's a delay. I guess I will kind of take a moment. I don't know if you're writing Denise or, but just how important it is that we practice that compassion for ourselves. I can't tell you how many times it's the judgment of how we are feeling that is causing the anguish or the anxiety that may bring clients to my office, right? And then it's also, I always say I'm a human in this world too. And it's like the feeling alone comes and goes, and the feeling alone we can work with. But when we judge it as like there's something wrong with me, or this is awful, I can't feel this way, or I'm never gonna not feel this way, I'm gonna feel this way forever. That's when, like, can you tell, like, that's the panic. That's when things escalate. um or we may resist whatever it is that we're feeling, and I always say what we resist persists. But just allowing ourselves to feel something, and allowing ourselves to feel compassion for it, and not judging it as good or bad, right or wrong, can be incredibly powerful. So Denise, maybe that is part of like what you were sharing. So moving on, the next step is probably one of the most, oh my goodness, here you are. Sorry. Okay. So that part said compassion for yourself, and that your anxiety is to teach you to understand your fragility, and also to see others who are suffering. Okay. Yes, self-judgment. I know. No, you're not alone, Denise. You're not alone. You don't have to judge the judging. You don't have to judge the judge. We all have it. And it is funny how we think like we, it should be better by now. I'm teaching it on a regular basis, and I'm shocked when I go through something myself. So it's all a part of the journey and all a part of the process. Thank you so much. That all came through at once. So I'm sorry if there was that delay. So your anxiety is teaching you to understand your fragility and maybe your vulnerability, right? And then also the compassion for other people and seeing other people suffering, right? Um, yeah. And I can't help but also bring up, so thank you, Denise. See, again, I'm so grateful when people feel brave and courageous to share, because then I can go in so many other directions that are better than me just constantly talking about what's happening inside my system. Although there's a place for that, but the judge is a part. So many of us have a judge part, right? So if we have an anxiety part, so but taking Denise, what you're sharing, like this anxiety part about our vulnerabilities or about our suffering and other people's suffering. So we have that part. And then we have a judge part, right? So we may have another part that's either judging that part or judging something else. And it's saying, you should be like this and you shouldn't be like this, or they should be like this and they shouldn't be like this. You can see how it can stir some trouble. And of course, we need our judge part. Sometimes our judge part is there to be a really good moral compass and to help us stay on track. But if the judge part works to an extreme, it can feed and stir up our system even more. So that's where the just gentle compassion towards ourselves, and it really helps the emotions pass more quickly if we don't have any of that should or shouldn't mentality. So I hope that's helpful to you, Denise, and hopefully helpful to anyone else that's listening. So next, what I want everyone to do, so you've asked what its intention and purpose is, and thank you, Denise, so much for sharing about yours. I want you to be able to say to the part. So you're going to kind of go back into a place of, meditation and just reconnecting with your calm and your curiosity and your compassion. And you have this other part in front of you, whether it's your Sunday scary, anxiety, worrier, whatever part came up for you. For me, as I said, was my scheduler. So when you are talking to the part, again, from your calm, compassionate, confident place, I want you to ask this part what it needs to calm down, right? So, Denise, in your case, saying, thank you to the anxiety. Thank you for trying to help me understand my own fragility and help me to have compassion for others who are suffering. Thank you for that. But, you're taking over my Sunday. You're hijacking my Sunday. I'm not feeling the peace and the tranquility I would love to feel on this Sunday. What practice or quotation or action item do you need me to do in order for you to step back and calm down and not hijack my system? So that's the next question, right? What is it that you need? What is it that the part needs? So you're asking the part, what do you need in order to calm down and step back so that I can enjoy the rest of my Sunday and go into my week? So I'm going to ask my scheduler right now that question, what it needs to calm down and step back so that I can enjoy the rest of my Sunday. And sometimes a word will come up, sometimes an image, whatever it is, just trust your intuition. Just taking a moment to write down whatever it is that came up for you. And for those of you that feel comfortable, sharing it in the comments. I know for me, my scheduler said the word trust. Trust that I will get everything that I need to get done tomorrow. Just enjoy the rest of my Sunday. Sounds so simple. We all know it's hard. But the truth is, if I really sit with that word trust, like it does, it usually gets done. It gets done. Just get up early, hit the day with clarity that this is what I need to do, and it'll get done. So anything else come up for anyone? Denise, did your part share anything for you in terms of an action item or a practice? And again, I thank you so much for participating. Thank you, Chuck, for participating. So oftentimes these parts will give us a piece of wisdom and they will tell us an action item or something that we can do once in a while. Once in a while, I have a client that says like, I don't know, the part doesn't know what to do. They're, and they're just having difficulty accessing any kind of inner wisdom that can help them. And if that happens, we usually come to something together. It's amazing. And like I've said before, I'm often stunned by what kind of wisdom comes out from this work. Oh my goodness, I love it. Denise said, laugh out loud. Wine was the first thing, but just breathing will be what I will do. It's true. It's true. I think there's plenty of people out there that can relate to um, dealing with the Sunday scaries with a glass of wine. But yes, breathing sometimes can be, uh, what's the word? More, I guess, gives you more muscles, right? It can give you more muscles to work with whatever it is. But yes, connecting with breath again, I that tool that is always there can give us enough space and enough pause to really be able to change our perspective, which is sometimes all that we need, to change our perspective or help us be in the present moment. Because again, Sunday scaries are often, sometimes Sunday scaries are about something that, like the residual effect of something in the past, right? Sometimes people have something that happened the night before that are still bothering them or contributing to their anxiety or Sunday scaries. But often it's something in the future. And the future hasn't happened yet, right? All of us, we all learn this in mindfulness or in the book Power of Now, right? So if you are suddenly now in the future and you're living out the future, but it's not even happening, like there's what, it's not even real. It's not even real, right? How many of us play out like conversations that we're going to be having in our head and ruminate about them? And I'm not talking about like the positive, like envision, really constructive conversation. I'm talking about the kind that gets our body into complete fight or flight. And so now we're not even in our Sunday. We're not even in our peaceful Sunday. We're in some imaginary conversation or situation in the future. So our breath can be this shortcut that brings us right back to the present moment, or using our five senses. So noticing things with your sight and sound and scent, taste if you have something that you're tasting, right? Um, all of these things can anchor us into the present, and then suddenly we're not having the dread of going into the next week. My theme for March is actually mindfulness. So I'm going to be putting things out there in my emails and things like that around all the ways that we can bring ourselves back to the present and become more self-aware, which is one of the goals of this. So I am so grateful for everyone who participated today. I know that there's still hesitancy in commenting. So Denise and Chuck, thank you so much for feeling comfortable enough to share in the comments. It always makes this experience much more rich and enriching. So thank you so much for doing that. And are there any other questions or comments? And before I wrap up, actually, for those of you who have been working with me on these guided meditations, there is one final step, and that is, once again, looking at your parts. So for Denise, thanking your part for all the wisdom it brought you about compassion and connecting with your breath. And then just inviting the part to reintegrate with your system. So, we've taken some time to separate. You've connected with the part. I hope you continue to connect with the part. Maybe you know it a little bit better after this work. And so then just inviting it to reintegrate with your system. I always like taking a deep breath in order for it to, reconnect and reintegrate. And just coming back to our time together, which I thank everyone. And I always like to say that if there was something that came up for you that you'd really like to dive deeper, you are welcome to sign up to be on my podcast, Illuminating the Stories That Bind Us, where you can share your story and it could be completely anonymous. So it's just in an interview. And then of course, podcast is just auditory. And Shannon Ward, she's a singer and songwriter, and I will prescribe a song for you to help break through that story. So if you haven't checked out my podcast, I can share that link here with you. The other thing I have is a service where you can write a letter. So maybe you want to stay completely anonymous, and there's a form for you to do that. And I'm going to share that here as well. So you can either write a letter about a story that came up that you just feel like you want more attention, and then I write a letter back to you, and that's shared on Instagram and Facebook. Or you're welcome to be a guest on my podcast where you share a story that has been binding you, and I help give advice, and we also prescribe a song. And Denise, you just wrote, so I try to have my anxiety be a trigger, a positive trigger for mindfulness to make it work for me when I remember. Laugh out loud. Absolutely. These parts want a job, right? They want a job in our system. So the part for you is a signal to be in the present moment when you remember. Exactly. Because sometimes it can just be off and running and we've totally lost touch. So I love that. When you remember, bringing it just helps you come back to the present moment. I love that. Thank you, Denise. Big heartfelt thank you for all the ways that you participated today and just all the ways that you support me. I really appreciate it. And here are the links that I was telling you about. Hopefully, when I share them, they're a little bit crazy sauce. Okay, let me do it one at a time. So if you want to write a letter to me anonymously, you won't even have to worry about me knowing who you are when you do that. That's the form. And then if you want to be a guest on the podcast, here we go. Oh, I feel your love. Thank you so much, Denise. And then if any of this was helpful for you and you would like to make a donation, this is a donation link. So if you feel moved, I thank you in advance. And so there you go. So I am so grateful for this time. And again, thank you, Denise and Chuck, for being brave and writing in the comments, and for the rest of you that showed up for this or watched this. Thank you so much. I am completely open to feedback about what is helpful in these Illuminating the Sunday Scaries, as well as what's not, or what else you would like to see. It's funny. I brought, actually, I'm going to do this. Denise, hopefully you're still here. I brought oracle cards because I wasn't sure if some people would want some oracle cards, right? So I am going to pull an oracle card for Chuck. I don't even know if Chuck's still on here, but I'm going to open pull a card for Chuck and pull a card for you, Denise. So these are called Divine Beloved Oracle cards, and they're just one card. They just have one word and affirmation, and then like a little prayer. So let's start with Chuck, and then I'll do Denise. So we're just going to pull a card for Chuck. Thank you for being here. And Denise, I'm glad you're still here. Chuck may not. I'll have to send him the card I pulled. It's just grateful that you participated. So this is for Chuck. Divine assistance. I am open to receive. So then it says, change me, divine beloved, into one who is willing to receive all the right help. Let me feel deserving of divine assistance in every way. Open me to receive. So that's for Chuck, which seems appropriate for your bike tour on your bicycle right now. And Denise, let's pull a card for you. So what wisdom is for Denise as she moves through the rest of her Sunday? Ooh, good one for you. Are you ready? Creativity. I honor my passions. Makes me think about your piano playing. So it says, change me, divine beloved, into one who honors my deepest creative passions and needs. Help me value the talents you have given, both known and unknown. So that's yours, Denise. So I hope that yes, I know. Isn't that a good one? That's so perfect for you. I love how that works out. And I love the picture and the boat and their painting in nature. So I hope you know, whether it's piano or something else, I hope you know whatever it is that you need to exercise. So thanks again, everyone, for being here. I am so grateful for you and all the energy that you bring. And I'm really, really hoping we can spread. Oh, you're crying. Oh, truth tears, right? I'm really hoping that we can spread the peace that can come from us illuminating our Sunday Scaries and help us kind of go into the week in a more peaceful, calm, and empowered way. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Denise. Truth, tears, and all. And I look forward to hearing if you do end up doing a creative compassion at some point. Maybe tonight, maybe this week. All right. Take care, everyone. Thanks again for being here. Bye.